Um, it was Rick Patton.
Who's Ray? I was just going to ask you because I didn't say who is this, but they said, "Hey, I never." And even then, you could say, "Mm,
So we're approaching time, so we'll go ahead and let everyone in just a minute. Just thought I'd give everybody a heads up. Chance to drink coffee, breathe, water, whatever you've got. Around here, it's usually wine.
Mixed after the tea is the wine. Kate, you should have a glass for me. Sit back.
I should have a glass for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't drink wine at 5 o'clock. I feel like if I had wine right now, I'd be asleep.
Great. Okay, here comes everybody. Well, for those of you who are joining us today, thank you for coming in. We're going to give it just a minute or two for everyone to get logged in and settled. So hopefully you're sitting somewhere where you have either a glass of wine, coffee, cup of tea, uh, maybe a little snack. It's like going to the movies. Maybe we'll have popcorn. So yeah, sit back and get ready for an adventure. Expeditions are always a great adventure. So bear with us if we just give it 1 minute. It always feels funny as I'm waiting for the second or the minute to pop by as we're letting everyone in. But I see that it is happening. So let's go ahead and begin. Again, welcome and thank you everyone for joining us today to learn about expedition cruising. I get extremely passionate about talking about expeditions. A little bit different way of travel for many of you who have never experienced this. I can only say just embrace, jump in 2 feet. It's really exciting. We are, of course, Expedia Cruises. We are also Expedia Wine Club Cruises. And we love to talk about expeditions because we've been there. There's so many of our team who've had the experience, just like myself. For those of you whom I haven't met before, my name is Kiki Offrey. I'm the VP of Sales here for Expedia Cruises, Wine Club Cruises. And I too have been to the ice and to the Galapagos and to some fascinating Indonesian destinations. There's wonderful opportunities and there's a little bit for everyone. So it's important that when you are talking about expeditions, there's so many questions that you will ask. It's important to work with someone who's been there. So that's why we're trying to encourage you to know we've been there. Because when you're exploring expeditions, it's all, of course, about the destinations. There are so many to talk about. The Galapagos Islands, whether it's Antarctica. Again, you can go to the Arctic region, whether it be Greenland or Iceland. There's lots of opportunities here. Go to the Kimberleys in Australia. You can just, it goes on and on. Tahiti, there's some wonderful expeditions to do there as well. So, in addition to talking about the destinations themselves, are the different levels of expedition. So, for any of you who joined us on our first talk, you might have heard me talk a little bit about these different levels. Because there's everything from the easygoing trips that will include some short walks, whether they be game drives or canoe rides. Some of them might include more like a hike, a little bit more exertion required. Then there's some moderate trips that will get really into hiking. And then, of course, there are those level 4, the challenging trips that require some of what we would call above average fitness levels. So wherever you are, it's important that you talk about that and set expectations for what you would like to experience so that we can make sure that the one you've chosen is perfect for you. Because more than anything, we are excited to hear about your stories when you come home about those wow moments. No matter how many times or wherever I've been, I can still tell you that everyone has wow moments, no matter how many times I've been. When you also look at your expedition, we try to think about your onboard experience. Every ship is different. So we have many cruise lines that we work with, but we also have ships within those cruise lines. So we want to make sure that you are getting what you're looking for when it comes to that onboard experience. Are you looking for the very simple, bare, I just want to get to the destination? Are you looking to come back and be able to experience that sweet life, to have your butler standing there waiting for you, ready to wash off your shoes or do something little for you that's going to make you feel special? Every ship is different, and we again want to help you to make good choices when it comes to your expedition experience. So, lastly, I want to just make sure that we talk a little bit about the inclusions. Again, each cruise line is a little bit different about what's included, but overall, when you look at expedition pricing, it's important that you realize that it's a whole package. So when you go there, all of these trips that you're going to hear about, all of these excursions that you're going to hear about, those are ones that are included. So it's important that you kind of look for what is included, whether it be a parka or whether it be hiking sticks, whether it be the Zodiac rides, the submersible, the helicopter, whatever it is. We want to make sure that you know what's included so that, again, you can make choices that are good for you. So with that, I also, again, want to mention that our team is very full service. So we're here to help you with every aspect of every trip that you take. And experience really does matter. So our consultants, we train all the time. They go to these destinations, they try things, they explore so that they can have good tips for you. We also, as a team, have a huge wealth of knowledge. For those who've been to one destination or the other, we quickly share so that all of our guests get great answers to those important questions that you do ask. So also, we're local. We're domestic. We're right here in the US. We're located in Petaluma, California. And that's important. Why? Because you're going to be able to reach us. We're going to be able to talk to you and have great answers again to all those questions. So we have two cruise lines with us today, and I'm very, very excited about this. Again, very different products. So we have HX Hurtigruten Expeditions. Of course, I like to laugh and say I'm one of the few people, being a Dane, who can actually say Hurtigruten and tell you what it means. But wisely, I think this company has recently branded to HX, and that's something we can all get behind. And then, of course, we have our partners from Silversea. And so while they both will go to many destinations, we have asked them today to focus on a particular destination, but at the same time give you a feel for who they are in the expedition realm. So let's get started right away. I'm going to introduce first Linda from HX, and I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen, and Linda can take over and share hers.
All right, wonderful. Thank you so much. And I will see here if we can share my screen. We'll see what happens here. Let me know if you can see something exciting on your screen on your end. I hope so. It might take a couple of minutes here for everything to pixelate as we move forward here in the wonders of the technology that we find ourselves in.
There we go. So almost. I think we just need to either get into presentation mode. Yeah. Nope. Just need to get into presentation mode. Not that one. There we go. Excellent. Take it away, Linda.
All right. Well, thank you so much for having us here from HX this afternoon. We are very excited to be here to present our brand and also dig deeper into the wonderful, wonderful destination of Galapagos. As KK said, my name is Linda Kavanaugh. I'm the Senior Product Manager over Warm Water Destinations here at HX. Some of you might know Michael Weldon. He is your Director of National Accounts over the Americas and the West Coast of the US. He cannot join us today. He's on the road promoting our beautiful brand, but I just want to show you Michael's face there in case you come across his name across the board. World of wonder awaits you. We do not only travel to Galapagos, but our world of destinations and vessels kind of takes you all over the place. So I just kind of want to show you where we do travel. If you follow that light blue line, you can see we do have vessels from following all the way from Northern Svalbard all the way down to the Antarctica. So I just kind of want to give you a highlight there to kind of gives you a bird's eye view where we do travel currently. Now, our brand itself, if you remember only 3 things about HX, I want you to remember that we are the experts in expedition since 1896. We have this amazing and unique adventurous history going all the way back to Norway's age of exploration and discovery. The first picture actually was taken up in Lofoten, Norway on our first voyage back in 1896. That is a picture actually up from Svalbard of DS Lofoten. The other thing to remember, we are made for the curious travelers. This is a powerful, powerful instinct to have as explorers, right? Now, if you have guests or if you're yourself looking for casinos and water slides and bingos, which are great, we are probably not the cruise lines for you. Now, on the other hand, if you want the best hands-on science center, daily talks from expert expedition leaders, landings, community visits, and totally get immersed into the culture and history of places that we visit and maybe get your hands dirty, we are probably the cruise line for you. We are also the leaders in mindful adventures, we would like to say. We were among the first cruise lines ever to go hybrid. 2 of our ships are actually hybrid operated, the MS Nansen, the MS Amundsen. And we also were among the first cruise lines out there to ban heavy fuel oils and also ban heavy, single use of plastic. So that is something that we really strive on, and we are very proud to say so. Now, if that is something that we do as far as an expedition cruise line, we also like to talk about the perfect balance in between that and the expedition cruising: adventure, comfort, and sustainability. These 3 pillars are something that we like to impose on our guests and our travel partners alike. So then again, what is expedition cruising? We like to say expedition cruising is a journey with a purpose that can truly awaken your inner explorer. There's no age limit on expedition cruising. All you need is a spirit of adventure and a desire to explore, right? That is expedition cruising. Now, a little bit, like I said, we're going to deeper into Galapagos as a destination as we move into this presentation. But here is kind of a little map over the other destinations that we do go to. Antarctica, our ships are on their way down to Antarctica here in the next few weeks. Alaska in the summertime, Svalbard, of course, Greenland and Iceland. We just launched our Eclipse cruise for 2026. And also, of course, Europe, we have our British Isles and also our new cruise up in Norway for 2027 that we just launched. So we do invite you explorers to navigate through our website and also contact your local BDM for more inspiration and information about the other destinations that we do travel to. Now, let's talk about Galapagos. Galapagos, the witness, the evolution in action. Now, an expedition cruise to Galapagos, if you've been there, you know, will change the way you view the natural world wonders forever. You will discover why this destination is so special and why Darwin was inspired to develop the theory of evolution by the natural selection just here. Galapagos Island, as you probably know, is located about 620 miles west of South America, west of Ecuador on the mainland. 97% of the Galapagos Island is a protected national park, and the land area is protected, and that's what makes it so unique. It was discovered back in 1535, and in 1835, again, it was the inspiration for Charles Darwin to find all these unique animals and the flora and fauna. And again, Galapagos Island is not mass tourism, and that's why I think it makes it so unique. You do need special permits to go there. You can't just basically show up with your own boats and your own aircraft. For example, in 2022, the islands itself only had 267,000 visitors. So that's not a whole lot. And it's a very unique place to visit. And it's a very unique, and you should feel privileged to visit these islands, so to speak. So that is a little bit of facts about the islands. Now, when is the best time to go to the islands? There is never a bad time to go to the islands. The best time to go to the Galapagos Islands is basically when you have time to go to the islands, when you have time to travel. Now, I put up the average temperature graph there on the right-hand side, so you can see the average temperature of the islands hover around the mid and upper 70s as far as the temperature scale and Fahrenheit. So that is a very pleasant temperature all year around. Now it does divide it up in the dry and the wet season again, but there's nothing to really flinch about. You might encounter some rain during the day and some cooler temperatures at certain time of year, but again, never a bad time to visit these islands. Now, why should you explore Galapagos with HX? Again, we took up a partnership with Metropolitan Touring back in 2022. We are proud to say we partner up with them, and they spearheaded tourism not only in South America, but also in Galapagos Island as early as 1969. And together with them, we're having this local partnership and helping guests to discover the most extraordinary wonders of these islands. We do have the beautiful Santa Cruz that we will talk about a little bit more further on into this presentation. That is a perfectly sized home base with a very informal atmosphere on board to explore these islands. Again, everything is all-inclusive. This is an all-inclusive program with experiences and activities for any age. All the activities, equipment, food and beverage, and all the spacious and modern amenities on board are also inclusive. Again, when you do go ashore, you can count on to have no more than 12 guests to one guide when you go ashore. So it's this very small and intimate experience. And again, a very informal atmosphere on board. There's no need to dress up, come as you are. again, the activities that we do offer on the Santa Cruz and with HX, it's an action-packed schedule should you choose to participate, so to speak. You can really count on to go ashore up to 5 to 6 times a day to visit these islands in various activities and various levels, depending on your wishes. So we do include, of course, reef and deep water snorkeling, beach snorkeling, swimming, kayaking, stand-up paddleboarding, glass bottom boat tours that I want to talk about a little bit more in depth further on. Guided hikes and treks. Also, we included a mountain bike ride that we started earlier this year. So isn't that cool to say that you went to Galapagos and did a mountain biking ride? That is pretty nice. And also, of course, we do include visits up to the Charles Darwin Research Station to see the tortoises, of course. And we also have pre and post programs. So again, activities for all levels. Depending on what you want to do. And then we also have some guests that really don't want to participate in a whole lot and they just want to enjoy the beautiful Santa Cruz, and that is perfectly fine. Now, I included this slide just to kind of give you a view. We do include all the equipment, like I said, bamboo walking sticks, boots, and also wetsuits, of course. It's important to protect yourself from the waters, but also from the sun down in Galapagos Islands. And we have wetsuits for all sizes and ages. And also I included these 2 pictures over here on the right-hand side. That's actually from my colleague that were down on the islands about 2 months ago. And she took these pictures just basically with a very basic underwater camera. And it just kind of goes to show you can get some glorious memories from these islands, just not being a professional photographer at all. And these pictures are just glorious. I thought I'd include them. Anyway, we do sail in the Galapagos Island on the beautiful MS Santa Cruz II, so Santa Cruz II. And she's also known within our company as a champion of the Galapagos Islands. She holds 90 guests at full capacity, 59 crew. A good little nugget to know there that she was actually built to hold about 145 guests, but at the refit in 2021, we cut out about 50 to 51 cabins just to expand on the common areas, to give guests more space to kind of lounge around on the observation deck, in the lounges, and give that cabin a more convenient and more common feel, so to speak. And again, all our expedition gear is included, including kayaks, wetsuits, and we do have a doctor on board, an infirmary on board that's fully functional. And our doctor, he or she does go ashore and accompanies all the shore excursions, all the activities each and every day, so everybody can feel completely safe. Now, a little bit about our cabins and accommodations on board the beautiful Santa Cruz. She has 3 different cabin variations, if you will. The Voyager cabin is our cabin that's designated for solo travelers that has 1 bed. Then we have the Explorer cabins where the cabin beds can be set aside for 2 twin beds or put together as a queen bed. And then the Darwin suite that can accommodate triples. These cabins can be connected to, so she has 36 connected cabin availabilities on board, which is great for the multi-gen groups that we do have on board. The cabins have US outlets and also hair dryer in the cabins. Each cabin has obviously private bathrooms. And yes, you can flush the TP. We get that question a lot. So I thought I will just add that little nugget of information as well. The Santa Cruz has 5 decks, very, again, well-appointed, huge windows, so you can enjoy also being in the cabin, get ready for the dinner or, breakfast in the day, and take in the beautiful views from the cabin itself. Now, moving along into the Beagle restaurant, dining is very important. We need to fuel our senses to get ready for the days and all activities that we do have to offer. The Beagle restaurant, we do offer breakfast, lunch, and dinner down here. Breakfast and lunch is a buffet, and dinner is a la carte from the menu. It can accommodate any and all dietary requests. We can take those requests before you even board the cruise, or obviously the chef is available at any given meal and can accommodate anything and everything that you might need. We also have happy hour either down here in the restaurant or up in the lounges, and also on the outside deck. And also our bar staff will create handcrafted cocktails or mocktails even. So there's something for everybody down in the restaurant. And just another picture here of the luscious and delicious meals. A lot of food obviously is locally sourced from the islands, especially the seafood. Now we do have the Science Center on board. So if you want to take advantage of our highly educated and highly knowledgeable, I should say, expedition staff. And most of our staff are from the Galapagos Islands itself. Actually, 95% of our staff are either from the Galapagos Islands or Ecuador, And they are more than willing to assist you with any and all questions you might have about the islands itself, the flora and the fauna. We have a well-equipped library there for you, a complete vertebrate clone, and the microscopes if you kind of, what we say, really want to nerd out before or after any activities, or especially in the evening, and learn more about the islands itself. Now, for those of us that want to keep up with even more fitness, if the activities ashore is not enough, there's a full gym with elliptical machines, cardio machines, free weights, and yoga mats on board. Also 2 hot tubs are very popular before or after dinner to kind of embrace all those activities that we have done during the day. And also the expedition lounge, where we have happy hours, lectures, and also just a good place to meet the fellow travelers and get acquainted with one another. Now, another very popular place on the Santa Cruz is, like I said, the hot tubs, but also it's surrounded by our washer and dryers. And these are complementary of use. And also we include the detergent. And believe it or not, a lot of guests take advantage of this to either do a load of laundry during the cruise, or maybe come home with a fresh suitcase, or spin out those swimsuits that you'll be using so very much on this cruise. So that is included in the fare. Now, the Galapagos Islands itself, like we talked about, they are located again about 620 miles west of South America, of the continent itself, or of Ecuador. They consist of 13 major islands, 6 smaller islands, and many, many inlets are part of this archipelago. 4 of the islands are inhabited, and there are 2 major airports on these islands, Santa Cruz and Baltra, and our cruises start from Baltra Island. That's where the Santa Cruz will be located, and pick up our guests from the GPS airport. And we do include the flights from the mainland to the Galapagos Islands. Now, I want to talk a little bit about our different cruises that we do offer. I just want to give you a rundown and a brief highlight what you can see and expect when you do cruise with us on the Santa Cruz and HX on these beautiful itineraries that we have created in combination with Metropolitan Touring. We have what we call the Best Short Trip. It's a 7-day package, 5 days in Galapagos Islands. And what makes this specific cruise so unique is that you go all the way up to Genovesa Island, which is also a bird lovers island. You go up there and see the Darwin finches, which is so unique. And this is also a cruise that we just recently partnered with the Audubon partnership, and we do have specific cruise departures with the Audubon that we are very proud to feature now with them. And then our newest departure is coming up with them in just a few days, actually. What also is special about this cruise that we do that sea leg from Santiago up to Genovesa, so you have a great chance to see some great sea mammals on this leg. You know, the sea mammals, I'm talking about the dolphins, the orcas, the humpback whales, the blue whales, the minke whales, and so on and so forth. So this is a great little cruise where you have a chance to see great birds and sea mammals. The next cruise that we call the Iconic Wildlife and Sublime itinerary is the Western route. You cruise all the way around the big island of Isabela, down to Floriana, and also into Santa Cruz, where you have a chance, obviously, which is a highlight for anyone, to go into the Charles Darwin Research Center and also visit the giant tortoises. Now, what we call the best all around, which is probably our most popular cruise in the Galapagos Island. It's a 11-day package, 9 days in Galapagos. So if you really want to maximize your time here, that is the best of the best. You include the Genovesa, the Floriana, Isabella, Santa Cruz, and all that good stuff. You're going to get it all in on this cruise. Penguins, marine iguanas, birds, and again, the coral beds down in Floriana, great snorkeling and kayak opportunities on this cruise as well. This one is, yeah, like I said, our most popular cruise for sure. And then I did say one of my favorites, actually, the best one to last is the Eastern cruise. I don't know why this one is really, I'm so fond of it. But again, you see a lot of good birds on this cruise, and also the diverse landscape. Going up to North Seymour, that's where you see all that great kind of lava and cacti, and also lush vegetation down in Española, and great bird life. Again, you can see the Nazca boobies, the red-footed boobies, and of course, a lot of blue-footed boobies too. A lot of good diversion on this diverse landscape and diverse wildlife on this cruise. Again, 7 days, a week-long cruise in the Galapagos Islands. So we do like this one. I put in this little picture of the sea lion pup that someone sent to me about a week ago. He was just kind of walking on the beaches there. I mean, gosh, they're kind of awkward when they walk on land, but they are so graceful and swift when they're in the water, and they're just so cute. And again, when you go up to the Charles Darwin Center, you can obviously encounter the giant tortoises and great bird life. And again, the blue-footed boobies and the marine iguanas that you can encounter on the variation of the itineraries that we do offer here at HX. Now, I had mentioned this before, and I just want to go back to this glass bottom boat feature that we do carry on the Santa Cruz. This is for people that don't want to get wet, but still want to get a great view of the marine life. So when you have this glass bottom boat feature, you can still see the marine life, the sea mammals down there. And if you have spent the whole morning in the water, and you take a shower and have a great lunch on board, and then you just want to go out there, but you don't want to get wet, this is a great feature. And it's especially popular with families. So I just want to say that we do carry this glass bottom boat on the Santa Cruz. Now, a quick little thing here about our pre and post packages. We do offer our guests to come into Quito, spend 2 days in Quito with a fully included full day tour before you fly out to the islands and enjoy our beautiful cruise there. Now, this picture is taken up from the teleférico, up from the cable car, but I thought I included anyway. You get a good bird's eye view from the from up above there down to the city of Quito. The city of Quito sits at 9,350 feet, so quite high in elevation. But gosh, it's a beautiful city. So on the full day tour, we do include lunch, of course, because you're out all day, 8 hours to explore the city of Quito, which is the capital of Ecuador and the second highest capital city in the world. You go to the middle of the world monument, so which is the imaginary line that divides the northern and southern hemisphere. And you go and see all the beautiful colonial architecture, the cathedral and churches in Quito, and as well all the plazas, the Plaza Grande, Plaza San Francisco, Plaza San Domingo in town. So it's a beautiful, beautiful way to kick off your vacation there before the cruise. Again, obviously, we have a few different pre and post packages. The Machu Picchu, of course, will take you into Lima, into Cusco, and again into the Inca Empire and learn more about the Inca civilization. It's a popular package to add on, usually before any of those cruise packages I just mentioned. And again, a couple of shorter packages that we do include as well is the Machpi Lodge. It's a 3-night, 4-day package that takes you all the way up into the Choco rainforest. It's about a 3-hour drive, but gosh, it's a lot of fun once you get up there. It's kind of what we call the Jurassic Park up in the rainforest. Great for walking, hiking, and learning all about the biodiversity up in the rainforest. And again, what is a Amazon what is a trip out to the South America if you also don't visit the Amazon rainforest? So that is also a shorter little package we can add on to any of our cruises. Now, again, why HX? Why should you sell HX? There's a lot of benefits for you guys. Great.
Well, thank you. So there we go. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. If you would like to stop share, that would be great. And yep, go ahead, James. So thank you again so much.
Maybe James can help me with that.
There we go.
Thank you.
All righty. Well, thank you again. And with that, we would, of course, we appreciate that. Thank you, Linda, for that great information on the Galapagos Islands. That was lovely. I'm very excited to see some of the amazing animals that are there. I loved that picture of the little sea lion pup on the beach. I was pointing, saying I want to be there. That's such a great experience. So thank you for that. Our next guest with us in today's presentation is Tim from Silversea. And Tim, we are very excited to be talking about a colder destination, one of my favorite places that I've been to a couple times now. Let's go to Antarctica.
Perfect. Thank you so much for having us, KK and Linda. What a great presentation. I've been very fortunate to go to the Galapagos, and it truly is a wonderful destination. So for all of you who might have that on your to-do list, on your bucket list, I would highly encourage that or recommend. I know we're talking about Antarctica, but similar to HX, Silversea as a brand has an incredible global footprint. We'll go to all 7 continents. So I'm going to play off just a little bit of a video to set the tone, and then we'll dive deeper into Antarctica as we progress.
What does it mean to be an explorer? I don't know. Maybe it's in my nature. It's in everybody's nature. We are all explorers. I guess it's the same for all of us. We wake up in the morning and we feel one lifetime will never be enough. Not enough to know, to see, to feel everything you want. That's why we explore. It doesn't really matter how far you go, how often or how long you travel for. We do it because every step we take, our souls become larger, richer, and more defined. Life wouldn't be life without a little curiosity. The world is full of opportunities. We just have to go out and take them.
So as I say, I really love that. And I think it sets the tone. Just broadly speaking, we have sort of what we consider 4 core regional deployments. So the Kimberley, as KK mentioned, Northwestern Australia, and a number of wonderful destinations in the South Pacific, including incredible places like Papua New Guinea, Solomon Islands, Fiji, Vanuatu, French Polynesia, of course. Then during our Northern Hemisphere months, we have a big deployment in what I call the 3 Arctics, because they're quite distinct regions. The Norwegian Arctic, so the island archipelago of Svalbard and Spitsbergen. Then there's Greenland and the Canadian Arctic as well as an extensive season around the British Isles. We have a dedicated vessel similar to the program run by HX in the Galapagos, our newest and only purpose-built vessel for any one destination. So she delivers the Galapagos on 2 alternating 7-day itineraries on an annual basis. And then for the purpose of this presentation, where we're going to take a real deep dive, Antarctica and the subantarctic islands. And why I am so excited to present to you today is this is truly a wonderful, wonderful destination, a place that I've spent a lot of time. I know it's a beautiful little marketing image, but actually my sister, my wife, and myself are all in that photo. They weren't, at least they didn't know that when they were traveling down together. But Antarctica is a destination that I've been to on a number of times. I worked for 10 years on our expedition ships and delivered this program as expedition leaders. So please keep those questions in mind for anything that I might miss out on in answering them, but we're going to take a little bit of a deep dive. And I think first what I wanted to do is just frame this, because expedition travel is inherently about the destination. But when looking at Antarctica, I think the first thing that I want to point out is to be on what I would consider a true expedition in Antarctica, you need to be on a vessel of less than 500 people. 500 is the maximum number of guests that are going to be allowed off the ship to have landings. There are other vessels that will do what I consider a cruise by, so you're not getting off the vessel at all. That will be vessels or passenger counts of more than 500. So we're talking specifically about this niche of 500 passengers or less. Now, I think Linda did an incredible job. I mean, the Galapagos as a destination is one of the great entry points into the world of expedition travel. But the two sort of focuses that I think on, it's about the destination when we talk about expedition cruising, in this case, Antarctica, and it's about the hands-on exploration. Silverseas has positioned itself as having one of the highest guide-to-guest ratios in the industry across all our portfolio in the destination, because that talks about the ologists, as I call them, the marine biologists, the historians, the geologists, who are bringing the destination to life. And then all of that is the sandwich, so to speak, and the filling is it's about the wildlife, the natural beauty, and different parts of the world, the cultural engagement and that sort of thing. So by being on a vessel of less than 500 passengers, we're going to be getting off. And to do that, to do the exploration, to do the traveling, just two very foundational slides to kind of help you understand what that experience looks like. The minimum physical ability from a participation perspective is the ability to get in and out of the Zodiacs. So just a quick series of slides, gathering at the gangway, coming down a short flight of stairs, and then the assistance of the sailors, the forearm to forearm grip to get you into the Zodiac. So that's the first step. Obviously, we need to get our guests into the Zodiacs. And then on the other end of that, this is a destination called Nico Harbor, one of my favorite continental landings down in Antarctica. And you can just see the process, sitting, swinging your legs, stepping into about ankle deep water in the boots. We've provided all the other gear that you need, the parkas, the backpacks, all of that sort of stuff. So this is just showing that basic approach. So if you feel like you can do that, you're definitely ready to participate in this destination. And I like what KK said, just in terms of setting some of those expectations of what that looks like. Now, broadly speaking, I'm going to have a little bit of a dive into our destination approach and how we as a brand focus on delivering these destinations. But to do that, we're going to take a little bit of a step back in history. First, understanding that Silversea as a brand pioneered small ship luxury cruising over 30 years ago. We're celebrating our 30th anniversary this year. And as a result of that, I want you to see the expedition product and everything that I'm talking about through that lens, through that ability to get off the ship and experience the expedition product, but still know that you're on a classic brand of that of Silversea that has been around and really developed this luxury offering. And the expedition product within our portfolio launched 16 years ago, and we pioneered the evolution of a more comfortable way of going to all of these destinations. The industry has definitely caught up, and there's been a lot of, they say the greatest form of flattery is mimicry. So we're very confident in this position that we've held. But I want you to see everything that I'm talking about through that lens of Silversea as a brand, as a leader in small ship luxury cruising. So it's about the all suite, some of the largest suites, room and entry level suites. And then we also have an incredible crew to guest ratio on our ships. So that's an indicative or a way that you can start assessing the level of service that is provided. We're about a 1:1 crew to guest ratio. And it's evident when you get on board and you have the butlers and the bartenders and the restaurant staff, and they start remembering and memorizing your names and how you like your cocktails in the evening, or how you like a little bowl of chips in the afternoon, or whatever it is. And then obviously that follows through into the culinary experience as well. So multiple different dining menus on all of our ships, bringing forward the best possible culinary experiences in the destinations that we're experiencing. So I want you to see the onboard offering as a 5-star ultra luxe hotel type experience. But what we're really focusing on for our product is the expedition and off-ship experience in the destination of Antarctica. So very similar to the Galapagos in terms of being an active program. You're getting off in the morning and the afternoon, and it's going to be a combination of different types of activities. Zodiac cruising, so using those Zodiacs to take in the glaciers, to take in the carving fronts, going on hikes, going on landings, going up to the top of the hills and the mountains. We also have a fully inclusive kayaking program, and then obviously the very important and enriching educational component that comes from expedition travel. That's inherently part of our DNA. Some of the other ways that I want to just sort of break down how we deliver and what our destination approach is. And I really love this example about how not only do we pioneer the evolution of luxury 16 years ago, but how we keep focusing on the continued positioning that we want to own in the market as the pinnacle of what true expedition and luxury combined looks like. And the example that I'm going to talk about for this purpose is our scouting mission that we did down in Antarctica. So we actually chartered this vessel completely separate from our regular cruising operation with the sole purpose of going down and gaining a better understanding of Antarctica. Now, why would a brand who's been doing this for 16 years want to do that? Because Antarctica has seen an incredible growth over the last few years, and there's been a very concerted amount of pressure on around 50 odd landing sites. About 80% of all people that go to Antarctica are only going to 50 landing sites. So we sent a team of our captains, expedition leaders, kayak guides, and shoreside operational staff with a very clear mission. We wanted to expand some of the areas that we operate in to make sure that we had backup landings in case weather wasn't suitable, or there was maybe another ship or operator there. This was a huge investment from the company, but from a net positive result, it created 22 new landing sites for us that we have the ability to enter into the IATO, International Association of Antarctic Tour Operators, and facilitate a little bit of relief on that congestion that we're experiencing down there. So we then have the site guidelines. We recommend how we deliver and operate in these destinations. So I think that's just a great way to show how we as a brand are really focused on making sure that we give our guests in destination the best possible experience. I think another way that we really focus on ensuring that guests have a great overall Antarctic experience is in our seamless journey. Silversea as a brand is known for a pricing structure that we call door-to-door, which literally means picked up from your house and driven all the way to the airport, your international air, all flights, transfers, whatever you need to get to the ship, and then all that rinse and repeat on the way home. For the purpose of other pricing structures, which we have, there is what's called port to port. But even when looking at our Antarctic program, if you're just buying what is considered a cruise-only fare, our program actually starts in Santiago. So similar to the Galapagos program where we start in Quito, we're starting our Antarctic program in Santiago. And we're flying down to the southern tip of South America for our departure points. So we've got that pre-night hotel. Then we fly down to either the towns of Porto Williams or Punta Arenas, where we'll be launching off for our destination. Now, hot off the press, literally only announced last week, Silversea as a brand is part of the broader Royal Caribbean family. So you get great status matching across Royal Caribbean, Celebrity, and Silversea. But Royal Caribbean has taken the very first step as a brand and is building the southernmost hotel in the world. Just south of the Beagle Channel, there is a little Chilean town called Porto Williams. And this is an incredible step, again, just proving or showing our, as a brand's desire to continue to improve that guest experience and that guest journey. So we're going to have the southernmost hotel in the world as the departure point for our guests before jumping off down to Antarctica. A couple of reasons why we did that. We couldn't get hotels that we were satisfied as the quality that was matching the onboard experience. We wanted to improve the guest journey. We are able to cut down on some of the operational challenges that we've had. So overall, just another example of how we're really focusing on making sure that our guest journey is as strong as it can be. Now, similar to the Galapagos, where we have two alternating itineraries, Antarctica is delivered in a couple of different ways. These are really the main four ways across the industry, and we have representation of each of them here. I'm going to take a little bit of a dive into them. First of them is what we'd consider the Fly Cruise program, and I'll focus on that a little bit more as we progress. Again, about 80 to 90% of people that go down to Antarctica over the last season do some form of this. It's about a 10 or a 12-day voyage, 2 days across what's known as the Drake Passage, with a 6-night program down in the peninsula, and then a 2-day crossing back north. There is what we have by virtue of operating a Fly Cruise program, an open jaw or one-directional sail and a one-directional flight. So you can fly one day, skip the Drake Passage, and then sail up to South Georgia the Falkland Islands, and then finish in South America. And then the sort of grand program, or the real, the meat of any Antarctic experience is these longer format trips that go first out to the Falkland Islands, then out to South Georgia and down to the peninsula. So we have these sort of 4 main styles of trips, so to speak, that unlock the Antarctic experience for you. And we deliver these on 3 vessels that are operating for our entire Antarctic season. The first of them, the Silver Endeavour, the most expensive expedition ship that's ever been built. She is definitely our grand sort of proposition. And then the Silver Wind and the Silver Cloud, 2 absolutely wonderful expedition vessels. Again, slightly on the smaller side than what is allowed to go down to Antarctica. As I mentioned, 500 being the maximum numbers, but an absolutely wonderful vessel. So now that I've got the means, the how, the what we do, let me take a little bit of a dive into the destination just to kind of whet the appetite on the different types of trips and the different types of experiences that you can experience down in Antarctica. So the first program that I'm going to talk about is the Falkland Islands and South Georgia, as I mentioned. Absolutely love this program. For me, if you have the time, this is how I do it. This is the Falkland Islands, these beautiful sandy beaches. It can be quite cold and windy, but there's a couple of main reasons that we're going there. First of them, these guys, rockhopper penguins. This is one of the few places in the world that you can sit absolutely, feet away from them as they're coming up to their nests and they do their egg exchanges or feeding or preening. Wonderful, wonderful little birds to sit next to on the tops of these cliffs. And they're actually sharing their nesting sites with these guys. These are your black-browed albatross, one of my favorite of the mollymauk or albatross family, and really just sitting on the cliffs next to them with their nearly 2-3 meter long wingspans, what's that, maybe 9 feet odd wingspans, and watching them taking off into the wind. Truly spectacular sights. And then the other sort of core species, the imperial shag or cormorant, depending on where you're from in the world, but just another one of the beautiful species. Then from there, we make our way, we sail out to the South Georgia Islands, a great opportunity to do some whale watching. Fin whales and humpback whales are really active in this water due to the upwelling currents that make South Georgia such an incredible destination. And unfortunately, on the counter side, obviously it's great that they're making a recovery, but South Georgia as an island group is known as a former whaling station. So there are a number of these whaling bases and stations along the coastline in the bays that we also have an opportunity to go out and explore. But it is a wildlife destination. I truly love this image. I think it shows a little bit of everything about Antarctica. These are your king penguin, the nice big fluffy ones are the chicks. That's a first-year chick, and then the adults scattered in the background. But you can see some tussock grass in the background, glaciated peaks on the valleys. It really is a wonderful environment. Great for some hiking opportunities. Obviously, you spend a lot of time in the Zodiac, exploring the shoreline, taking in the sea lions, playing, and I should say the fur seals, playing in the kelp forests. But it's primary cause or draw to it is about the penguins, because obviously this is a great marketing image, but when you turn around and you see 100,000 pairs of king penguins on the beach at a place like this called St. Andrews, it truly is a wonderful, wonderful wildlife destination. So if there was a quiz, that would be my answer. Top wildlife destination pretty much anywhere in the world, but including Antarctica, would be South Georgia. But now we're going to focus on the peninsula. So depending on how you get there, as I mentioned, there's a couple of different ways. There's the sailing format, the 2 days across the Drake Passage, and then your 6 days in the peninsula, or the fly cruise program. So this is a space in Antarctic travel that we as a brand, as a company, have identified as a niche that we really want to own. We're the only company that has a dedicated ship delivering this style of travel, or the way to access Antarctica over the entire season. And why we do that is because by cutting out the 2-day sailing across the Drake Passage, this is the only way that you can make Antarctica accessible from North America, including flights, in a 10-day time frame. So that 2-day sailing has become a 2-hour flight from Punta Arenas when we relocate down to Puerto Williams. Once we've got that hotel built come the end of 25-26 season, that is going to give us even shorter window of operation to connect down and then still get the full 6-day program down in Antarctica. Now, there's a couple of sort of core concepts that I will try address as we progress throughout this presentation. But in essence, it's important to remember that pretty much all operators are delivering a very similar experience in Antarctica. We're all bound by the same rules and regulations, like the Galapagos, like the Arctic. We're bound by how we deliver these programs in these destinations. So it's always an ice-covered environment. There's always going to be the seal life that we're looking to see down there, 3 main seal species. And then there's 3 main penguin species that we aim to show our guests on every single voyage. And I love these. I obviously have some images with the chicks in, because that's an important sort of defining point as to the seasonality of when you're down there. But that's your Adelie penguin. These are your chinstrap, very aptly named penguins. And then one of my little favorites, these are the gentoos. Now, I'm going to be able to maybe dig into this a little bit more in terms of the Q&A and the time that we spend, but seasonality in Antarctica is really based on the penguin breeding cycle. Earliest on in the season, the penguins are coming ashore, they're going through their mating, their courtship behavior, then it's nest building, egg laying, egg hatching as the chicks start fledging, and then progress right until the end of the season as those chicks go through their first molt and come into their adult plumage. The other elements in terms of things that we do down in Antarctica, it is a constantly ever-evolving scenic gallery of the most incredible ice sculptures that you could ever imagine. So Zodiac cruising and using the Zodiacs to go and explore the coastline and the areas like this, Plano, the iceberg graveyard, are a wonderful way that we get to interact with the environment. As I mentioned, a couple of former whaling stations and science areas that we go. This is one of my favorite. It's called Deception Island. You actually go into the sunken caldera of an active volcano with the vessel and land our guests. You can see the geothermal heat coming off the beach there. A couple of penguins going for a little hot tub sauna experience, but really just a wonderful opportunity to go and explore. And then excuse me, based on time and destination, a number of other sort of hiking opportunities, Zodiac cruising, and other experiences that we get to participate in. Just a little bit of a video playing in the background to show what that fly cruise experience looks like. So we board our guests at the moment in Punta Arenas. In the future from Porto Williams, we fly them down, landing on a gravel runway on the island of King George Island in the South Shetlands, before heading off for the rest of the expedition experience in the destination. So really maximizing the time that we get to spend down on the waters. Obviously, one of the largest Zodiac fleets, and as a brand, as a company, we have industry-leading crew to guest ratio, guide to guest ratio, and Zodiac to guest ratio, which are all representative of how we deliver a program in the destination, because those are the tools that you need to get off the ship and spend as much time as you can in the destination experiencing them. So on the gravel runway down in Antarctica and on King George Island, it is really just a wonderful way and experience to come in and explore the destination. And as I mentioned, you know, as compact a program as you can get, landing with your gear, with your boots, with your waterproof pants, and the first thing that you do from landing on the island is jump on a Zodiac ride for your home away from home for the next 6 days, one of our wonderful vessels. Just broadly speaking about Antarctica, it is always going to have icebergs like this. It is always going to have snow-covered periods, mountains and glaciers. There isn't very much difference in terms of seasonality from the start of the season to the end of the season. And I know one of the often asked questions is, you know, what is the temperature like? What is the experience going to be like? For those clients or those guests, those of you that are maybe coming from the northern parts of North America, you know, I had a couple on with me in November last year when I was most recently down there, and they were talking about the temperature in Antarctica being warmer than it was at Chicago at the same time of year. So please think of it as if you're going on a ski resort. You're obviously, we're providing these wonderful jackets and things like that. But it's about being able to go down and explore these destinations. I love this image. Obviously, we can't ever guarantee an experience like this, but I think it's really indicative that you need to put yourself in these environments with a company that knows and has experience in delivering the destination in a way that's going to afford you the most opportunity to get out and explore as you see fit. Now, just before we started, I had a quick conversation with KK. She said that she's actually managed to go out and do this. This was the Polar Plunge down in Antarctica, a wonderful way to explore. And we also have a full kayaking program. We just encourage guests not to go down to Antarctica to learn to kayak because it is a little bit of a cold water plunge where we jump in. And I know KK went through this, but please do remember that we are 100% all-inclusive product. So that includes things like gratuities, butler service in every room or suite category, as well as all of the Wi-Fi, the beverages, all of those sorts of things when it comes to the experience. I think we're getting close on time, so I'm just going to play a very quick little video highlighting the Antarctic experience with us, and then I'll head on to any questions that we might have.
This really feels like Earth's last frontier. It's so wild and remote here, but you instantly feel at peace. Everything is so vast, so pure, quiet. It's awe-inspiring. The ice, the whales, the ocean. This is a sanctuary we all have to treasure and preserve.
Okay, I think I had the slide up for questions, but I think the true question is who's ready to go, because that's the end of my presentation. And I hope I went through a little bit of a whirlwind tour of what an Antarctic experience with Silversea looks like. But thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much. I am so excited just seeing all those pictures again. I'm ready to go again. So I hope that all of you are feeling the same way. I know that when you see the Galapagos Islands and you see those animals, when you see the Antarctic experience, all of them immediately bring back emotions that are so different than if you were sightseeing the Colosseum or other structures in the world. Right away, I will tell you that to mention about the polar plunge, it was actually my husband who did it. I have to admit that I have never ventured into water that cold. I'm a chicken when it comes to cold water, but to see my husband jump into and do the polar plunge, and then it was on his birthday, but then followed by a young man who was directly following both of these destinations, both of these cruise lines that we're talking about today, welcome the multi-generational family. And again, lots of questions that we're going to ask you. When you talk to us about Expedition, we're going to ask you a million questions. But the reason we do is because we want to make sure that you are paired with the right ship, going to the right destination for that particular vacation, for that experience that you're looking for. Being able to take children or grandchildren or sisters or friends along together on any of these experiences will guarantee you a lifetime of memories. I can promise you that. So with that, I know we have a couple of questions in the chat box, so I'll just kind of read those to you. And folks, if you have questions, please put something in the chat box and we'll try to get to them. If we don't get to them tonight, I promise you that we will get you answers. We'll reach back to you with any answers that are needed. So the first one is actually for Tim. There's somebody who's saying, someone who's asking, what is the best time to see the chicks, the penguin chicks in Antarctica?
Yeah, fortunately, across the 3 different species, you do get a bit of a staggering for the true season. And again, it's slightly variable from how far north or south you are on the peninsula. But as a general guide, most of the species are going to be laying their eggs towards the end of November, early December. Come sort of mid-December, you're definitely going to have chicks on most sites. The different sort of parts of that, and I showed you sort of 3 stages of chicks in terms of their age across the different species. The Adelies, for example, one of my favorite, a little bit later into January, they're getting quite big. They're a little bit more active. They're going to be chasing mom and dad around, waiting for their food, like feed me, feed me. So there's even within that the seasonality, you know, the absolute joy of sitting and watching birds as their egg hatches under their feet versus the end of the season where I think the parents are okay, you're a teenager now, I'm done with you, get out of my face, like leave me alone. So there's a huge amount of variability in that question, but essentially from, let's say, mid-December all the way through, you're going to start having chicks.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that. Linda, there's a question for you regarding the Galapagos Islands. And the question is there good snorkeling, and is there a particular itinerary that you would choose if you wanted to do more snorkeling?
Thank you. Great question. There is good snorkeling in Galapagos Islands for sure. And again, we do include the wetsuits and snorkeling mask and fins, and all the equipment is included. I would say the northern itinerary is very good for snorkeling. Like I said, you do get a lot of sea time on that itinerary. All the itineraries do include snorkeling in one way or the other. Northern or western itineraries are great for snorkeling. We're going to get you in the water, or we're going to get you an opportunity to get into the water, I should say, or kayaking, or, you know, and again, snorkeling again will come in all shapes and sizes. We can do reef snorkeling, we can go snorkeling from the Zodiacs, and we also give you the opportunity for snorkeling from the beach. So get you comfortable with the water, right? We want to make sure that this is a great opportunity for everybody, but northern or western, I would say for sure. And we'll get you that wetsuit on and get you into the waters of the Galapagos. Great snorkeling, clear water.
I'm sorry, I know this was Linda's question, but I just have to concur. Some of the best snorkeling, freediving I've ever had anywhere in the world. I mean, to have marine iguanas and flightless cormorants and penguins and manta rays all in one dive, it's really exceptional.
Yeah, I like to say it's like a Disneyland for adults, right? It's kind of you know, you kind of get overloaded, you know, but it's a fun place.
Excellent. And then one of the next questions is that, let me see, they could really apply to either of you. So I'll let you both maybe answer. With all the new ships that are going there, is there any reason one want to go now versus later? And I think I have the answer for that, but I'll let one of you or both of you address that.
Is this specific for Galapagos or Antarctica, either?
I think it's for Antarctica, because I think you mentioned something about the number of ships that were down there.
Yeah. I'll take a quick stab, and Linda can comment. I mean, when I first went down to Antarctica 2008, about 35,000 people went down that season. We grew last season to this season as an industry about 35,000, so upwards of 130,000 people went, and it'll only continue to grow. I'm not saying that from a doomsday perspective, but there is definitely more and more touristic pressure on some of the landing sites and the way that the governing body administers tourism down there. I don't want to say we're at breaking point, but there will come a time where things are going to be changing. And the only other sort of commentary that I want to give on that is the last 2 seasons down in Antarctica have been some of the lowest recorded ice, so sea ice extents that you would expect down in Antarctica. They say obviously Antarctica is a continent surrounded by frozen water in the winter months, and it's normally a doubling of size as the sea ice extends out all the way around the continent. Why that's an important element is the main sort of element of the entire food web down there is your Antarctic krill, and that's typically feeding on the algae that grow underneath the sea ice. So as sea ice extent or the amount of sea ice we get down there starts shifting, it's definitely going to start changing the entire food web, because pretty much everything relies on the krill.
Great, thank you. There was a question about your science center. A guest is asking just what kind of things can they expect to experience in your science center?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, so on board the Santa Cruz, or again, any of our vessels in any of our destinations, we have underwater drone, particularly that we do operate and bring in samples from under the sea, so to speak, and we take that under microscopes from our onboard scientists. We have a full staff onboard scientists, a part of our expedition team, And so you can see, you know, what's under the surface, so to speak, of the ocean, and learn. And we have lectures day in and day out. So we take samples from the oceans, bring it on board, and do scientific measures of those species, so to speak, in all our destinations within you know, obviously protocols and measures of the destinations.
So those are the
A
kind
lot
of things
fun.
that guests can participate in?
Oh, absolutely. Guest participation is highly encouraged. And also that is very popular with our younger travelers, families, kids love this kind of stuff. So yes.
Excellent, excellent. Let me quickly see. I know there are a few more questions in there. Some of them are a little bit more general. So I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up for this evening, just for the sake of time. But for all of you who have typed questions in, I promise we will get you answers. And most important, we want to make sure that, again, talk to us. Ask those questions. We want them. Don't be afraid. There is no silly questions when it comes to expedition. We want to make sure that you choose the right product. We're grateful, very grateful to both of our presenters from HX and Silversea for joining us today. And again, our team here at Expedia Cruises, Expedia Wine Club Cruises, we have wonderful partnerships with these two companies, and we highly recommend them. And having again experienced them, our team, several of our team have for both, we can share with you exactly what you need to know. So you see the number on the screen there, the 877-651-7447. Go ahead and take a picture of that screen so that you have it handy. Make sure that you give us a call, and we look forward to sending you off on the trip of a lifetime, your next expedition voyage. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We look forward to talking with you again really soon.
Thank you so much, KK.
Thank you.